Show me.
I'm the Martial Arts Film Freak, and I watched Fearless Hyena.
起處線，嬌弱游龍，敵心王。
Fearless Hyena is a 1979 film directed by Jackie Chan himself and starring Jackie Chan, James Tien, a couple other people, Hui Lu Chen, let's see, Shi Quan Yen, Kun Li, Tien Chi Chang, lots of people. The film centers around Jackie Chan's character Xing Lung, who is just a little brat navigating the world. He's just being a little punk. I say that as a very broad idea of the plot because Fearless Hyena doesn't really have much of a plot. The film opens on this master who, obviously based on his appearance, is supposed to be evil, hunting down members of, I'm guessing, a certain school or a certain faction of martial artists. And then it just jumps to Jackie Chan and his uncle and his grandpa, played by James Tien, and it just goes to them living and him being a brat, and he's learning kung fu from his grandpa, and he's told to get a job, but he's not good at it. It's the Seinfeld of movies, I suppose. There's a bit more to it than that. Jackie does eventually find a job. He works for sort of a con artist as a fighter. And until, I'm just gonna spoil this movie because it came out in '79. Him working for this con artist is a vast majority of the movie. And then within the final 30 minutes, that evil guy we saw in the opening 2 minutes of the movie finally comes back, kills his grandpa, and Jackie Chan has to get revenge. But he has to learn more kung fu before he can get revenge because kung fu movies. This movie is essentially just a vessel for fight scenes, which really is completely fine. While Jackie works as sort of a fighter and enforcer kind of thing for this con artist, the fight scenes there are really good, and I think there's only 2 or 3, but they're long fight scenes, each of them lasting probably around 5 to 9 minutes or so, and each of them, for different reasons, are really good, especially in my opinion the fight scene with, what was his name? This is the reason I said his name earlier, because his fight scene was one of the best. Tien Chi Chang was Willow's sword, and that fight scene is incredible. I know I normally will talk a bit more about like the plot and certain more movie elements, like, you know, I don't know, the storytelling and the acting and the cinematography and whatnot, but really there's not much of that going on here. It's mostly just about the fight scenes, and normally a movie like this would probably actually be more something fitted for like my 2-minute knockout videos, where it's videos where I don't really have much to say, but here's the general idea of the movie. But the problem is, while there's not much going on with the story or anything, the fight scenes are just really damn good. Like, just probably now some of my very favorite Jackie Chan fight scenes. And that really says something, because this isn't even in the 80s yet when he gets really good. This is still in the 70s, when a majority of his movies were kind of trash. When you dive into a Jackie Chan movie from the 70s, you could get something like New Fist of Fury or Half a Loaf of Kung Fu, movies that have maybe a couple highlights, but altogether, maybe a waste of time. However, eventually, you land on one of his greatest movies with something like Drunken Master, and this time I landed on Fearless Hyena, which is clearly one of the very best movies he did before I believe he joined Golden Harvest. His training scene looks exhausting, and it's not even that he's doing anything like super extraneous. I'm pretty sure the training scene is like him doing like 2 things, and one of them is just a whole bunch of like hanging sit-ups, but he does it like 50 times, and he's doing it like just really aggressively, and it's exhausting. This movie may also be just a little bit famous for possibly some of the worst dubbing you've ever heard. The dubbing all around is mostly fine. It's specific key moments of the dubbing that are just horrendous. There is one moment in which Jackie is running after the villain, and he just gets like kicked to the ground, and the villain asks a question, and Jackie does not respond to the question. As he's sitting up, he's clearly saying something, but whoever did the English dub, which if you watch the movie Iron Fist and Kung Fu Kicks, they talk to this guy, he doesn't reply with dialogue. He replies with like grunting and just noises. And in the documentary Iron Fist and Kung Fu Kicks, which you can watch on Netflix, a lot of people from the industry back then who were bringing these kung fu movies over to America talk about the dubbing process and how they could really just say whatever they wanted. And when he talked about this specific scene, he expressed, he's like, I'm genuinely disappointed with myself on this. I just must have really been having a really lazy day. And yeah, it's just horrendous dubbing. The two major final fights are very good. One of them was a little bit disappointing. You expect the very final fight, you know, like the huge climactic battle, hero meets villain. You expect that to be the biggest bombastic moment, like Legend of Drunken Master. I know a lot of my videos when I'm talking about Jackie I refer to that movie, but that's kind of his most notable, biggest feat. Gotta go for it. When you think of that movie, you think of a lot of different fight scenes, but that final fight scene, oh my god, you know that they worked on it for so long. They worked on it for like 3 months just on that single fight, and it shows. And in this one, the final fight scene is very good, but I actually prefer the fight scene just before that. The fight scene just before the final is like Jackie facing his guards who have these spears, and just the feats of athleticism and acrobatics and the martial arts choreography, it's all just, everything blends to probably one of the most perfect little scraps. Not like a full fight, but just like, I don't know, just it's this perfect little clash of all these elements that forms an amazing action scene. And I just, if you don't watch this movie, at least watch the final like 15 minutes. The final fight is Jackie putting together all of his training, which is like this, he's emoting with his martial arts, and it's what I don't like about this scene is a vast majority of this scene is Jackie just approaching him. He's essentially just annoying him. I probably like more, he's probably doing it to wear him down, wear down the villain, but he's not using any offense. He's just taking the blows, and he just keeps coming at him, approaching him, invading his personal space, until finally, probably the final 2 minutes is actually when he starts fighting back, and that final 2 minutes is completely epic. Unfortunately, everything leading up to that final 2 minutes took probably like 7 full minutes, and I kind of got tired of it. In the end, I think I'm going to give Fearless Hyena about 4 willow swords out of 5. This is a very good movie, not for the story or even a lot of the characters. A lot of the characters, including Jackie himself at times, are actually quite annoying. But the fight scenes are completely worth sticking through it. It's not one of those where you're going to wait a while for the fight scenes. This movie is a majority fight scenes. It is a lot of action. It is a very good movie. I seriously recommend it. If you have not watched Fearless Hyena, it's on Amazon Prime. If you have a Prime membership, it's right there. I also have this Fearless Hyena DVD here. I don't know if it even actually works. It probably doesn't. I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is trash. I just have it because I own it. I don't think it actually works. I don't know. What do you think of Fearless Hyena? Is it your favorite Jackie Chan movie from the 70s? Let's group all those 70s movies together because a lot of them are very similar. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget that there is now a Facebook page for Martial Arts Film Freak, so head over there, like the page, comment on stuff, talk to people, get along, don't be mean. Like, share, and subscribe. At the time of recording this, I'm very close, like just under 600 subscribers, which is not a lot, honestly, you know, compared to successful people. But for a small little niche subject like martial arts and kung fu cinema, I suppose I'm doing fairly well. Let's get to 1,000. Once I get to 1,000, I do maybe plan on doing, I guess, a movie shelf tour. That's not what you should. I'm just gonna go through all my movies and be like, this is what I own. You know, one of those videos. I own somewhere around over 300 movies, so that should be fun for me to edit. But I don't mind. I like watching those videos, so maybe you'll enjoy watching mine. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.